Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for my client Louie's vlogs, and it's been just a little bit since we did one of these. I needed enough footage, and as you guys know, Louie is Emma's husband, but we've hit pretty big lifts in the past with him. He's been a client about 3 years, and again, he goes through some certain health problems and can't always train, and sometimes takes entire weeks off from lifting and just has to deload. It also causes a lot of joint problems for him. So we have to be careful with going through our phases. But the interesting thing is, even when we go through months of that, if I keep his training on point at all, we come back and start hitting big lifts again when he gets several months where he feels well. And how big a lifts do I mean that we've gotten? Well, I've shown you guys in the past, he's benched 350. He's overhead pressed 225. We're squatting down in the low 400s. He's deadlifted 505. You guys have seen him do weighted chin-ups with 2 plates aside for a few reps. Like I put that on camera before. So to give an idea of how I do when, he can start to train again, because we couldn't squat for a couple weeks. So you guys will see that sheet at the front. And so I kind of just included a mixture because he did 2 bench sessions this week, because he was just like, look, I can't squat. I can squat, I can't deadlift. I was just too tired on deadlift day, so I took the day off and came back and went to the bench session. And as funny as that sounds, yes, we get away with a lot of that for him, right? Because we've built so much muscle base that he holds very large amounts of muscle, right? I should probably put up pictures later because he put some stuff up occasionally. Well, you guys have seen him in a tank top and stuff in the previous vlogs, right? He's big. He's probably got 18-inch arms. So, what does our training look like when he's doing this stuff? It's pretty simple. I run him through some basic 5-3-1, but we only do the 5s a week. When he's not feeling well, I don't want to go above 85% training max. Now, this end up in this case of him getting a lot of really, really high reps. I want to say like on his squat days, because I took his training max all the way down to 315 and had him do, 85% of that. He's able to do pretty good rep work with it, at least sometimes. This week he just stopped at all the 5s, right? He stopped at all the 5s. But I think like some of his benching, he did 10. Overhead pressing this week, he did, 165 for 5, right? 165 for 5. But if you look at his sheet, so people would ask, well, what do you do for someone like that in those situations? And you're not trying to progress them real hard, you just want them to maintain, well, look at that sheet at the start. All right, it's very, very simple. We take conservative training maxes, so I take his training max all the way down to 300 on the bench, right? Even though he's done 350 when he's feeling good. I took his squat down to 315 for the training max, and we'll bring that up. He didn't deadlift this week, but I mean, even though he pulls 505, I've run a 475 training max for him. Okay, and this is how we make things work. This is how we make things work. And I know a lot of people will look at the programming up there and they'll say, that's just ridiculous. How's he making gains on all that? Well, in this case, even we're taking all the, I put chin-ups and rows, but they're hurting, so he's just doing underhand grip rows. And again, people would say, don't you not like underhand grip rows? I don't. But for him, they don't cause any pain in his joints. So therefore, we allow him to do them. But I mean, his workouts are pretty simple. It's basically just the 5s week onlys for the big 4 of the barbell lifts. We do 50% training max for 5x10s back off work, which would be the assistance work for all those lifts. We tend to do chin-ups and rows depending on how he's feeling and what he's able to do. Tricep press downs, some dumbbell curls, and then we spend a lot of time on the reverse hyper. So on both his squat and his deadlift day, we do a lot of reverse hypers, and the reason for that is that again, he's got a previous back injury that made it to where he couldn't deadlift without pain, and then I got him to 500 deadlift pain-free. But the reverse hyper has been an extremely valuable tool for that. Been an extremely valuable tool. And so again, when we're going through phases like this, he just skips workouts that he doesn't feel good on. If certain movements hurt, he doesn't do them. And as soon as he feels good again, we'll be right back up to a mid 300s bench. He'll be pressing over 200. He'll be able to squat in the 400s and a deadlift in the 500s. And that's how it works with him, because I just continually keep a base there. We keep a base going there. And I keep the programming simple, and I have to keep him focused on reeling it in, because he will take sets to failure. He will grind singles. He's one of those lifters that will tear himself apart. And when you're dealing with, your own set of medical stuff, you can't have that. But here's the ultimate thing. This is a guy who still can put up those sort of numbers in spite of every year probably having 6 months of really bad training. Like he struggles to progress, but I keep his muscle base high, right? We keep his technique up by doing training of this sort of nature when he's not feeling well. And then a lot of times what happens is, because we keep that broad base there, and he's good at, 4 big barbell lifts, he's good at chins, he's good at rows, he's got a strength base on all these, he does a reverse hyper year round, we live on that thing for him. Okay, so what ends up happening? That he takes stuff like these 265 for 5 benches and, whatever, 300 squats for 5, and then all of a sudden we take stuff up, and then he's doing 5s with, 380 or 390 on the squat. He's doing 5s with 315 on the bench. Okay? He'd be doing 5s with 440 or 450 on the deadlift, because we keep that base there all the time. And that's what people need to think about too. When you get in situations in life to where you can't progress, you can't bulk, right? Maybe you have a medical issue slowing you down a little bit, and so your progress is going to be stalled if you just continue to keep your base up all the time. And stuff like this works. Those conservative training maxes running just 5s only weeks, running the 5x10 boring but big, putting in the most important supplemental lifts, so we keep back work in, keep a little arm work in, we live on the reverse hyper. When you do that, you stay jacked, you stay strong, and as soon as you are feeling better or you're able to bulk again or anything, your lifts just skyrocket, because you've kept the base there the entire time. And I want to stress that. And I think we're going to see some of that in Louie's vlogs of me explaining that. And this is, again, a very different situation I deal with a very long-term client. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.